Hey guys, this is Thomas from Cost Certified. And what I want to show you today is a really nice feature of Cost Certified that we're really excited about, and that's selection items. And so what that basically is a way for your customer on the proposal to make choices of what specific item they want and for the cost to be adapted for that. So in this case, I'll just show you how the customer would see it. Of course, this is the customer view of a quote. Of course, in their view, it would be full screen. And when they go down, they can see options. In this case, it's for vinyl siding. A lot of people would do this maybe for selection items in the kitchen, like maybe a faucet or sink, or maybe the cabinets, things like that. Things that maybe you would typically give an allowance on. But in this case, you may be able to put specific items that you offer almost like a catalog so that they can just go ahead and make those choices there. So in this case, you'll see what happens. They can choose, in this case, type. So it's saying fiber cement versus vinyl. And we can customize these however you like, and we'll show you how to do that in a little bit with as many different options. Maybe you want to add hardy board with their options. But as they select, so in this case, fiber cement, it will switch to those options below. And what else happens is it's also adapting the price. So you can see at fiber cement, of course, is the more expensive version. And it says how much it will save if they switch to vinyl. But as we switch to vinyl, you'll see as soon as they do it, the price below will follow and it will adjust based on that square footage price. And then within that, they can even select the color they want. In this case, we could even add more lines of variation as well. So maybe if you wanted to have like a thickness or something like that associated with it, you could even have even more besides just type and color. But you'll see if they select, in this case, like khaki, they'll be able to even expand it and see a bigger image so they can kind of get an idea of what they want. So this is a really nice option, especially for things that you would typically do allowances on. Because what this allows you to do is, first of all, maybe get rid of that so your customer can actually know for a majority of items what they're getting. Which will make them happy instead of having to go fit the specific budget. But also for you, right? Because you don't have to go back and say, okay, they went over on this budgeted item, they have a little bit left on this one, and do all that math. As soon as they select on these type of items, you'll know exactly what to get, and it will already be priced accordingly. So it's a very nice feature, and I'll go back and show you at this point now how we can set up items or how we can create items that work this way. So of course we're in our preview to our customer. We'll go back to the estimating side, and I'll go ahead and just show you how to create a selection item, is what we call it. So I'll go ahead and open here. Of course, this is what the selection item looks like on your end. Very much the same. We just have a couple other options as far as we can click this eyeball to hide certain categories from our customers. So maybe we already know what they picked and we don't want them to be able to see this, or we can lock it. So those are very nice options as well. But in this case, we'll shrink this guy and just show you how to create one from scratch if that's what you're trying to do. So what you would do is go ahead and just hit add item, and in this case we'll just hit new item just like we would with our typical item, and hit add one selected. So now it's going to bring up the item, and what we'll do is go ahead and we'll just name it siding in capital letters so that it's different than our other siding item. And now what's happening is we're gonna kind of create it the same way as our basic item in this first step. We're gonna associate an item type with it, our unit type. So how are we pricing this? In this case, we're gonna say by the square foot. But here's where it gets different. So typically we have our standard base pricing, which we'll go ahead and check. In this case, I'll just check materials and we'll enter our flat costs below, and now we'll price out our item. But in this case, what we're saying is, okay, yes, we're pricing out siding, but there's multiple variations within this item that can change the price. So what we'll do is hit advanced pricing types, and we'll go ahead and select selection pricing. So you can see what happened when we did that is basically it got rid of our basic pricing model down here, and what it's asking us to do is create variations. So we'll go ahead and click that. And the first thing it's going to take us to is this page that's basically asking us, first of all, to name our variation types. So basically what it's saying is what different factors are we going to have selections for that will vary the price. So in the case of our siding, we said siding type, so I'll just put type here. But in the case, maybe if you were going to do cabinets, you could do maybe different sizes and things like that. And then we'll also say our other factor in this case was color. And now, as I said, you can make as many of these as you want. And basically what it's going to do is combine all of these potential options to make an array, and you'll see that. So what you could do is type in vinyl at this point, and usually what we'll do is at the top level we'll only type in our specific option, our one option. And the reason for that is because when we type in vinyl, and we will put in a couple of our colors that they're available in, so we'll say gray. And so now if we want to separate our options here, we're going to use a comma, and that's how it knows that it's a different option. So we'll say gray, khaki, and tan. And so we separated those with commas, and it knows that there's 3 variations there. And so of course what it's saying is vinyl gray, vinyl khaki, and vinyl tan. Now, if we would have had fiber cement here as well next to our vinyl, it would have been 6 variations, right? Because it also would have did fiber cement gray, fiber cement khaki, and fiber cement tan. But in this case, fiber cement isn't available in those colors, right? So we would be creating potential options that don't necessarily exist. So in this case, what we'll usually do is just create our first line of options, and then we'll come back and add our next line, and that way we don't have to go back and delete the combinations that don't exist. So you can see here we have our 3 options, and we'll know here because below it's going to show us, before we generate these combinations, it's going to show us what we have here. So within our type, we have vinyl, and of course we could add even a picture or description on vinyl that would show up on every vinyl variation. So in this case, we could say, you know, something like affordable, long-lasting option or something like that. And then it will apply to every one of those 3 vinyl options. And you could put a picture on that would do the same thing. So typically that's what we would do, is maybe add pictures in this screen before it generates, and that way we'll have them on our other items. So I'll go ahead and add a picture here just so we can kind of see how it will look. And of course there it is. And of course you would do that on all of them. By way of example here, I'll just do the one, just so you get the idea. So once we're ready on this page, we'll just go ahead and hit generate. And so what it's going to do now is combine all of those options and give us a table. So in this case, there's only 3. I mean, we could have as many different types as you would want, but what you'll see here is it's kind of grouping those options into a table. So of course, vinyl gray, vinyl khaki, and vinyl tan. And so what we're saying is, at this point, and you can see our variations up here, we're saying what's our cost, what's our, and it's going to output our price. So let's just put in a cost here, and then it will calculate our price based on our company-wide markup there. So you can see it did that. And we can work backwards too, and it will calculate the same way. If we wanted to put our price, it would calculate our cost based on our margin there as well. So at this point, what we would do is, if we had it how we liked it, we would just go ahead and save these variations. And so at this point, if we just exited out of here, these wouldn't yet be saved to our library. So we'll know when these variations are saved once this bar, first of all, finishes loading. But also what's going to happen is, once they're saved, you can see how this table switched from an orange to a gray, which is nice because as we go back and create new ones, new combinations, like for our fiber cement, we'll know which ones have been saved and which ones have not. So to add more, what we would do is we would just go to quick generate combinations here. And since we already generated these combinations, we don't want these here anymore because they have already been created, right? So we'll just erase it. And now we're going to go ahead and type in fiber cement. And in this case, we get the idea of how this works. So I'll just go ahead and type in a couple colors to show you how you could kind of do this multiple times and just continue to add variations as you go. So you can see two variations, and that's of course fiber cement Biscayne and fiber cement Snow White. And those are two of the colors there. So you can see how it added fiber cement as now a type, and it added these colors down here as well. And you see the gray picture stayed because we already created that. And so these are our new ones. So if we went ahead and added pictures here, they would also add every time we generated our list. So now we can go ahead and generate our list. And you can see up here it's added them now in orange because there are new combinations. And so for the sake of it, we'll go ahead and just put prices on here just so you can kind of see how this works. And now it outputted it. And of course we could add a description here as well. But I'll go ahead and just save this variation, and you'll see it'll do the same thing. And so this is really nice. And you could even add variations, by the way, from items that are already in your library. And what you would have to do is just fill in where they fit as far as type and color as well. But in this case, these are all saved. So we'll go ahead and exit out, and we can see now we have 5 different variations on these items. And we can go out and check it if we want. We can go down and see, of course we only added a picture for gray, but if we go to vinyl, and it's going to only show our vinyl items, right? And our price is showing up here. And the same with fiber cement. It's showing up there. Now, one other thing we can do with selection items that is very helpful is we can control what shows or how our pictures show in these buttons as well. So if we go ahead and go into our edit button here, and we go down, we can go back in and edit our table, by the way, and add more if we wanted to in here, and we could go ahead and change the prices. So that's one thing we can do. But we also have this option as variation settings. And so when we open this, this is basically telling us how our buttons or our selectors show. So basically what it will ask is, I'll go down to the one that we actually have a picture in. What image shape do we want our picture to show in? So in this case, it's a circle, which you saw. Maybe they would look better square, or if you just fit them to whatever the image was like, you could totally do that. And you can also adjust how the picture shows. So if it's too zoomed in, maybe you want to make it so there's none cut off and it kind of zooms out so your customer can see that whole image in the button. So that's kind of a nice feature. And you can also adjust if you wanted a different picture on your selector than you have on the item. You have that option as well. So that's what happens in this screen. But basically what you end up with is a nice catalog of options where your customer can go in and make selections. And that way it'll be able to save you time in the long run. But it also makes your customer happy because it gives you, in the end, somewhat of an interactive proposal as well.